Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It is a beautiful day, and of course, heralding a very beautiful week. We hope it stays that way. How was your night? By the way, how was your weekend as well? Hopefully, it was worth it, whatever you used it for. Today is the first official working day, so for many persons, especially on morning duties, is that you're on your way to work or you are there already, or finding your way around. Whatever you do, make sure it counts. So Femi Ojo is my name, and it gives me great pleasure. Gives us great pleasure to welcome you on the program today. And as you already know, we look at the papers really now, the juicy headlines, interesting ones. Sometimes my mouth be juicy, and when it's interesting, it could be an exciting way. It could be the other way around. Just trust us to do justice to that. And of course, we then get talking about every issue of public importance, and that is exactly what we are going to do today again. So, good morning, sir. Uzon, good morning.
Good morning,
Otutuoma
Femi.
to you. I think I'm correct with that, right?
Yeah, who taught
Uh,
you that?
Good one.
Oh, wow. Adimma.
Talk to me, bruh. Small for you, I.
Okay,
All right.
good morning, Femi.
Yeah,
Good
good
morning
morning.
to our dearest viewers, and
Mm.
welcome to another week where we are ready to give you everything as it's hot, and
Yeah.
also expect you to stay back. I don't want to use the word sit back again because
Mm.
Femi says some persons might be standing, and it's
Don't
true.
let them sit back. Oh.
So stay back and enjoy this show, and
Yeah.
because you're going to learn a lot too.
Mm. Thank you very much. And of course, a lot has happened actually on the national scene, at the subnational scene, even in Africa as well, even internationally. Towards the end of last week, in fact, last week or the earlier part, more than 2 weeks now, there has been this uproar in South Korea,
Yeah,
actually, and it's about the step
martial
taken
law,
by the president, Yoon Suk
president.
Yeol,
Yeah,
when there were some issues. Then he invoked the martial law,
law.
and the nation was not having it. Actually, it started gradually. Students, young people, the whole nation rallied against it to say, what exactly does this man
I
mean
mean,
by invoking the martial law just because he thinks he can do that? And it's all hell broke loose. At the end of the day, there was a minister in which it was alleged that it was that minister that encouraged him, advised him to
him
do
to do
that.
it.
First of all, the minister had to resign. I think he was taken up, arrested, and the president was under pressure. The president had to say, "Oh, guys, you don't catch me," and he recanted to say, "Okay, I'm not doing it again." But the
Yeah,
nation was not having it.
yeah, exactly.
For the people to think, what made you do that
Do
in the
that
first
in the
place?
first place.
The situation in which the nation in doesn't call for
For
a
such
martial law. And for
law.
some persons, I might want to think, what is martial law? Martial law is the replacement of civilian rule by military rule and the suspension of civil legal processes for military powers. So there wasn't a coup.
Yeah.
A president was there, but because of some agitations here and there, the president suspended the civilian rule for a military
Military
kind of
rule.
operation. You are military, I mean,
The
civilian
civilian
president,
president
but then you want to rule the country in a
in a
military
military way.
fashion. And the nation said, no way. You can't do that unilaterally. In fact, it equals to ruling by state of emergency around there. There has
Exactly,
to
yeah.
be some agreement. There has to be a constitutional thing. There has to be talks. The National Assembly or whatever has to say, okay, this is what we need at this time. But because he's a president, he was
Yeah.
now, had to just say, this is what I'm going to rule you people with iron hand, and the whole nation
He
rallied
was showing
against
off
him.
his power.
Everything, was scattered, and it was not about politicians.
Yeah.
It was the people. The
People.
politicians can do what they want, but
Yeah,
if
but
the
when the
people
people
will
are
rally to
ready,
say,
yeah,
we don't, what
we don't
made you
want this.
think that? You suspended the constitution by yourself,
Self
and you
and
say you are going to rule by military dictatorship while you are a civilian president. Not that the soldiers or the military have come to overtake you. You are there and you are doing coup on yourself and ruling the people by the military. The nation rallied against him. The other guy was arrested. He himself was declared persona non grata. He held himself within the military, I mean the palace, And, while he was still president, all the institutions declared him wanted. He was still president. They declared him wanted. At the end of the day, the government, it's nowhere to be found. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that is good or is bad, but I'm talking about the will of the people.
Yeah, sure.
To stand against whatever they think is wrong. And that is part of what is lacking here.
Well. Exactly. That's what we're lacking here. But then...
because at that place, it wasn't about either you are a Hindu, Buddhist, a religion person or religious person or not. Yeah. Everybody just felt, what? You mean because of some things somewhere you could suspend our constitution and you want to rule all as a fascist? We won't have it.
Yeah, but I won't really say
that's imagine if that was Nigeria. We hope we don't get to that part where any president will say, I want to suspend the legislation. But the way some of our leaders behave, they get away with anything. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But when the people are trying to speak up, they get marginalized, they get abused and all those things. So
do you know why? I think it's because the people are not united enough.
Well, because that,
if
because we have
10 persons in a place, and 2 or 3 are saying, no, this is not right, or 4 persons, and 3 of them are saying, please, I don't want to be part of you people don't like this or that. That is what. But imagine 9 of them out of the 10 saying, this is wrong. We will not have this. That singular or 2 or 3 of those rulers doesn't have anything. In fact, all the institutions in South Korea supported the people. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
To say you can't do that.
You can't do
martial law. Why? That means by martial law, anybody that is against the president, you can go ahead and arrest or shoot or detain.
Firing squad.
So the people it speaks about the will of the people. First of all, we spoke on this last week, to know their rights.
Right.
You must know what you are even fighting for. They know the constitution. They have leaders who could rally them, and nobody is putting it on the altar of your broom, your umbrella, your papa, mama, pikin. No, because that's one of the issues as well. Politicizing everything. The constitution, will be there, and I think we could do better. I'm not saying, and I'm not calling, we are not calling for toppling of any regime, but that the people must not be docile.
Yeah.
We must refuse to be cowed, to be captured by anybody at any dispensation, at any time, especially when the cause is right and just. Exactly,
just like
and that's the point.
We did majorly last week where we said, always speak up, no matter what it is. Speak up at the right time. Speak up, whether you're being, like the barrister said, whether you're being violated domestically or in the country as a whole. Always speak up. We have this issue of always covering things up in this country, and it doesn't really
because the leaders will always know how to separate the people. Oh, that guy is doing that because he's a Muslim. That guy is doing that because he's a Christian. Doesn't like you people. Oh, he's a Yoruba man. Oh, this one is a Ndigbo. That one is a Hausa person. And before you know what's happening, all of these sentiments are used to divide and rule.
That's what we talked about. People. Regional.
And that's what we are speaking to. Let's you know why these thieves, some of those thieves,
actually.
Some of those thieves, whenever they're empowered, they are not empowered. Whenever they want to steal, because they are robbers. I'm not talking about anybody now. But anybody that has ever frittered the patrimony of the people is a thief. Whenever they want to do that, do you know they don't do it on the altar of religion?
Of course,
nobody cares who is.
Nobody cares.
They go just, for it and they bag it. And you know the people that will still be making excuses for them? You and I. People like you and I. The people that they are robbing will still be making excuses. I think Nigeria is one of the fewest places in the world where the oppressed are the one always making a case for the oppressors. And we must stop it. You know what has happened with Okechukwu matter? He has been impeached. Now, the only thing that is waiting, there is a court, constitutional court, that needs to ratify it. Once they ratify it, he's gone and he's gone. If they don't ratify it, then maybe he has another chance. But the guy will have learned a lesson.
Yes.
Anybody after you secure will know you don't try nonsense with the people of South Korea. We hope we get to that point in Nigeria where there will be nothing that will be good enough to separate us whenever the cause is just and good. Let's take this break. When we return, we speak and read out the papers. They are here already. And of course, the program will continue. It's Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Stay with us. All right, I will be kickstarting the headline segment from the Daily Trust, the Daily Trust newspaper. High expectations as 32 states budget 22 trillion naira for 2025, with riders appropriations up by 31% from 2024's, and governors should prioritize capital expenditure. Experts, and below that you have some statistics to corroborate that particular report by the Daily Trust. Away from that, ECOWAS okays Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso's exit. Tinubu pays 85 billion naira, $54 million levy or to it. The contribution and of the federal government to the ECOWAS costs has been the highest in history, and they have done 100% of what they should do, what we should do as our nation, as a member nation of the ECOWAS. But it's sad that African brothers, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, they exited almost a year ago when the military junta took over. I think in Niger, and they broke away to form an alliance, and it seems that they will never come back. Now, why there is acute malnutrition in northeast and northwest? Federal government is saying that Nigeria export 181.62 billion naira electricity in 9 months. To who? That's a question. Exporting 181.62 billion naira worth of electricity in 9 months. All right. Kaduna reopens market after 10-year closure. Urges peace. Okay, that would be fresh breath of air to the occupants and the marketers in that particular market, and they have been urged to follow peace. Even the Holy Bible says follow peace with all men, so and women as well. Now, 20 dead is a sad one. 11 rescued in Benue boat accident. 20 dead, 11 rescued in Benue boat accident. For ardent followers of this program, you will know that hardly can a month pass without we reeling out, some incidents of boat mishaps here. And when you check it, even without the official investigation, overcrowding, because a canoe, wooden canoe, most of the times that's supposed to carry, let's say 20, you see people hanging around like 50. On it, and not just human passengers. You will still see cargoes, some of them having loads, and then maybe at some point the facility will break down on the river and calamity will set in. And most of the times nobody wears jacket. It keeps happening, especially at the northern part of the country. And then you see leaders come around, they speak some English and some grammar, and then you are waiting for the next place that will happen. It's a, I don't know, should we put this on the desk of the federal government every time, on the government rather, because of course there are statutory bodies at the federal level, at the state level as well, but somebody even from Abuja will not come and administer proper transportation in somewhere in Adejia, somewhere in Kamba, in Kebbi, or what's this place in between Niger and Kwara now, Jeba. I think we hold ourselves our responsibility, but then that's why you have organizations or ministry and departments of the government that that will make people to do what is right, even if they don't want to do what is right. 20 people dead. That's sorrow in those homes.
Yeah, and sometimes even when they're told not to, I mean, let's leave aside the government. Now, as a human yourself, when you see something like that, why would you even get in? Someone like me, I won't get in actually.
You are right. Maybe you are that enlightened. There are some persons that maybe they don't know. Maybe that's what they are used to. You know what we do in Nigeria. That's the way we do it, and nothing has ever happened. You hear somebody saying, exactly. "God, they protect person, like who go die."
Taking phone calls at the filling station.
Yeah, because nothing has ever happened doesn't mean nothing will happen.
Like it's right.
Yeah, it's not right. But that's why we have agencies of the government that will say, if you don't know, we will let you know. If you want to do this thing, you say follow what is right, we will make you to do
Yes,
what is right.
we
So
use
that's
force
where the
and,
government comes in.
like-
Not that I'm blaming the government, but our people need
Well, we
to
can't
do
really put
better
the
as well.
blame on
20
government
people
or
dead.
people.
I'm not an apostle of evil or a prophet of doom. In the next 1 month, most likely, I pray we don't, we'll be on this table, you reel out another thing like this, and it seems nobody is concerned about these issues.
Yeah.
It's a sad one. Politics, economy in focus as Obasanjo meets Kwakwanso and Duke. And over 200 terror suspects back death sentence, life imprisonment. Can we please go ahead and do these things? Why, there's prerogative of mercy, I understand. But if actually cases are taken for this long, and these individuals have been confirmed to be terrorists, the people that have wreaked havoc on families, on our institutions, and they have been finally sentenced to life imprisonment. The ones that have been sentenced to life imprisonment, let them go. The ones that have been sentenced to death, can they please go ahead and do that? Because you know what? Until we have proper deterrence.
Yeah.
Deterrence. Like people know there is consequence for every
Everything
action.
you do, yeah.
We'll keep going
Going round in circles.
Movement without motion. That will be all from the Daily Trust for today.
And we have the Nigerian Tribune. Cash crunch. POS operators source funds from traders. And the writers here says, increase charges by 150, 200%.
Yes, so.
Not our fault. We no longer get adequate cash from banks, operators. Development may set back CBN's cashless policy. So we also have boat accident, like Femi just read. 20th dead on River Benue.
Same incident.
Same incident.
Yeah.
Reps empower SEC to regulate online forex trading platforms. Others. Ekiti PDP congresses. Caretaker committee members, Fayoshe's loyalists may clash. Kwankwaso, Duke meet Obasanjo in Abeokuta. And ECOWAS begins withdrawal formalities for Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. And the riders there, Tinubu settles 85 billion naira, $54 million levy. Tasks leaders to copy Ghana's peaceful general elections. Just wish the INEC chairman said Ghana copied from us, right?
Yeah.
So now the president is saying we should emulate the peaceful general elections.
The question I will ask Mr. President, not he as a president now, but politicians like himself, like other politicians as well, from the APC to the PDP, to every piece that you can have and every C's, what the Ghanaian politicians have done, will Nigerian politicians do
it? That's it. That's
number
the question.
One. Number two, would they allow, with the institution, saddle with this responsibility when I'm an institution, not just INEC, the police, the security agencies, the stakeholders, would they agree to follow the constitution? Because everybody is pointing fingers at the peaceful election in Ghana. They, Nigerian politicians, would they be as less desperate as those are? Because these are the issues as well.
Because
we have seen people at the place of power say, oh, power is not served a la carte. You have to grab it, snatch it. If they are grabbing it, they are snatching it in Ghana. Would they have this?
Yes, peace.
Within less than a day, or just slightly above a day, the election was announced.
The results were out.
I agree. Our population is bigger than theirs, but the results are out. Let me just be conservative. Less than 2 days, in fact, just a day, the result is out.
Yeah.
The winner has been announced. The loser
has
congratulated. Everybody has moved on. Nigerian politicians, they have logged out of that WhatsApp group. They are not there. They have exited. Will they be as because Mr. President is saying you should copy Ghana. In fact, we like to tell Mr. President and his party members and the opposition and everybody, they themselves should copy Ghanaian politicians.
Yeah, they should. So we have NGE expresses concern over anti-media / free speech laws. And the writer there inaugurates committee to engage AGF, National Assembly Information Ministry. And high interest rate weaken naira to sustain trade surplus, capital inflows till early 2025, analysts. Confusion in LP as fresh defection looms. NAS caucus meets today as APC intensifies poaching. We will resist it, before LP spokesman. And that'll be all on the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, that's right, that's right. And away from that, we'll move to the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard is next. Federal government overshoots 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira. Interesting. With riders borrowing 49% above target on 11th month. May hit 67% at year end. Domestic borrowing hit 8.9 trillion naira, borrowing here and there. Analysts list impact on inflation, others. More borrowing crowds out private sector, experts. Interesting. Federal government overshoots 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira. What it means is, if there was a projection of maybe 2 trillion naira borrowing, they have overshot that particular projection, and so they have borrowed more than they envisaged to borrow. So, and there was a percentage here, borrowing 49% above, almost half of what you should have borrowed. You are still borrowing. The interesting one to a layman is these particular headlines made it to look like we are borrowing 10 naira and 20 naira. We are borrowing in trillions of naira. And who gets to pay? Maybe generations yet. And I hope whatever that has been borrowed on and borrowed for is worth it. Nations of the world borrow. I think the US borrowed the most in the history of the world, but then you look at the GDP ratio to that borrowing and what is being borrowed for. We hope it's not for consumption, because these are the issues as well. And if it's for capital expenditure, are they verifiable? Are they serving the people directly or indirectly? In fact, they will tell you, are those projects in which these borrowings are being made able to pay back maybe in the next 10 or 20 years? These are the issues that we need to see. And we have an office for that, the DMO, Debt Management Office. I hope they are watching. And that's why we even have the National Assembly. It's not everything that the executive bring that you just, okay, pass it, that's all. Pass it, that's all. There should be scrutiny. What are these monies being used for? Because somebody gas pay, as we say on the street, you gas pay.
Yeah, gas pay, yeah.
You gas pay. What it means, to student watching, you have to pay. So ignore the you gas pay. That's a colloquial street language, but that's what he said. Now, below that, you have the picture of Mr. President Tinubu and, flanked by other heads of government and presidents in Africa as well. These are some of the stories on the front page of the Vanguard. Moving on, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger have till July 2025 to return to ECOWAS. Interesting one there. Like you are telling a toddler, if before I close my eye and open it, you guys should get inside. I'm talking about sovereign nations here who appears to have moved on, from ECOWAS. And Tinubu to ECOWAS leaders, let's learn from Ghana's democratic example. The interesting one that is not just within the country. And I think the message is right as well. But I hope that message is not just somebody playing to the gallery, because appear to be saying what is right. We hope we'll do that. And especially in Africa, we like power too much. Power is sweet, actually. If you're in a position of power and wealth, apart from the intoxication, who doesn't like power? Who doesn't like wealth? When everything is as your beck and call, but then follow the rule. If you are opportune enough to lead this nation, to lead at any level, state level, local level, official level, office level, that's a privilege. You are not the most brilliant the world has ever seen. Of course. It's an opportunity.
The beautiful ones are not yet born.
Maybe.
The most intelligent are not yet born.
If you said the beautiful ones are not yet, okay. I'd like to say, have you seen me before? Okay.
Really?
Moving on. Both Misap claims 20 lives in Benue. And Nigerian Guild of Editors expresses concern over anti-media and free speech laws. Last week we had, in one of those days, I think December 10, We had the Human Rights Day, and part
Yeah.
of the conversation is about the press freedom in Nigeria as well. And sports, Lukman, the man Kafit, about the 2024 CAF African Footballer of the Year, Ademola Lukman. I think if wishes were horses, rather, okay, and I think that's right. But this is not about wishes. The guy, Ademola Lukman, he has been excellent actually at the club level, especially at the club level, and for the Super Eagles as well. He has been banging in the goal. So, and I think in the coming days, the best footballer in Africa will be announced, and we
Yeah.
hope it will be our own Ademola
Yes. We
Lookman. He
hope will
plays for
come from
Atalanta,
Nigeria.
in Italy. Very good guy who has been consistent all season. Actually, last year it was Victor
Osimhen.
Osimhen. So it will be good for us to have a Nigerian pass it on to
Yeah.
another Nigerian. And Victor has been trying as well, but he had these issues with his club. It was about at some time destabilized, but I think he's settling down at where he's in Turkey right now. And Mr. and Mrs. This is always a very humorous part. Mr. and Mrs. Corner, Missy says, so you believe that relationship between a young person, so you believe that relationship between a young person and much older person is the best? That's Miss is asking. And Mr. replies, yes. Why do you think there are sugar mommies and sugar daddies? Interesting one there. But I hope Mr. will choose his words carefully, but because whatever he's saying can be used against him
in the court of the house.
in the court of
relationships.
the woman. That's it, because maybe after 1 month, that woman can just come and say, excuse me, that answer you gave on 4th of July 2025, 2024, what made you say that? Is it, whenever women come with, is it because, that battle is lost? Call your lawyers immediately for that one. That'll be all from the van.
Lawyers. Okay, and we have the Punch. Council autonomy. Algon, NULGE, kick as governors get 2 trillion naira local government allocations. And the writer there, local government bodies worried over uncertainty in Supreme Court verdict's implementation dates. ECOWAS to approve Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso's withdrawal, January 29. Death toll hits 20 as boat capsizes in Benue. NDLEA seizes 83-kilogram drugs from Canada, arrests 3. Abuja land only valid after payment, C of O. Abuja land only valid after payment, C of O. Minister's spokesman. APC opposition welcome planned PVC withdrawal. Okay. And we have Tinubu not threatened by Obasanjo Kwankwaso Obi's 2027 talks, APC. OPS fears SMEs collapse as cash scarcity lingers. Dangote refinery extends exports to 3 African countries. Okay, we're moving. That means we have it in excess. All right, that will be all on the Punch this morning.
All right, and we'll take this break. When we return, the program will continue. We'll have a conversation about the art sector. There is a lot to unravel and unpack. Stay with us.